Hey everybody, back again. And today, I want to talk about, pivoting. Pivoting. When it comes to like being an entrepreneur, starting a business, why pivoting is such a important concept to know, right? So pivoting is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's just being able to make quick, kind of decisive changes as you grow and develop and like research your business, right? Because let's be honest, just like in war, right? The best laid plans hardly ever work out the first time. Is that how it goes, right? Nothing ever goes according to plan, right? And so when you're growing your business, what you think might work, what you research might work, what you've worked hard to make work, often doesn't work. And so when that happens, when you don't get the results that you want, you have a choice to make, right? Do you just keep chugging away, put your head down, bang your head against the wall, and keep doing what you're doing and not get the results you want? Or do you make a pivot and then change your approach and try and attack things from a different angle, from a different way, right? So that's the basic idea of a pivot, but it's a lot easier said than done because it's hard to know when to pivot. Sometimes people maybe pivot too early. Sometimes people maybe pivot too late. And sometimes people maybe pivot in the wrong direction. So this is what really kind of makes you, an entrepreneur, I guess, right, is your ability to recognize when the situation is not in your favor, when things are turning south on you, and then what are you going to do to try and make things right. And like I said, pivoting is a very important thing to do. When I taught my entrepreneurial class, we had a whole lesson basically all about pivoting, right? And so what we would do is the kids would get together in groups. It was kind of a cool activity. Get a piece of paper, and they were in a airplane factory, and their goal was to, under 5 minutes, make, design, and test fly these paper airplanes. And the planes had certain requirements they had to fulfill, right? They had to have a certain length. They had to have like 2 wings. It couldn't just be a crumpled piece of paper. And to be a successful flight, a plane, it had to fly a certain distance. So we would actually go outside on the basketball court, and I would kind of lay some tape down for our flight range or flight field, airfield. And the kids would have to like hurry race, make planes, and then go fly them. But the way it was set up was everything had a cost, right? So the paper they used to make the planes, that was their resources. And so that cost like money to use that paper up. Every time they had to go fly the plane, they had to pay for that as well. Licensing fees or gasoline and hazard pay for the pilot. If the plane flew, then I would like buy it off of them and they would make a profit. But if it crashed and burned, they would lose all that investment, right? They would lose the resources, they would lose the flight time and all that. They'd be out money. And so that was the challenge. And like over 5 rounds, what teams could make a profit and what teams didn't, right? You know what the secret was? Well, first of all, kids these days don't know how to make paper airplanes because they were struggling, right? Like it was kind of funny how bad these planes were, and like they thought these little brick houses were gonna fly, and that ain't happening, right? But really quickly, the with it teams would realize, hey, this design isn't working. So instead of making the same crappy airplane again, maybe we should do some research. Maybe we should slow things down. Maybe we should try something else and see if we get different results. And then maybe that plane was a little better, but maybe that crashed, so they have to go back to the drawing board again, right? Basically replan their strategy, their business model, and try and make a new model paper airplane. And eventually, you'd get groups that would figure it out, right? They'd crack it, right? They'd figure out what design flew, and then they're just mass producing these planes and flying them back and forth and raking in a ton of money. Well, other groups would go bankrupt, right? Because they just didn't figure out and wasted all their resources throwing their money away to, for something and not getting the expectation they want, right? So just a cool little activity, but very fitting to real life, right? So think about maybe your business or the business you're thinking about or whatever it is, right? Have you ever been in that situation where you're not getting the results that you want, right? What did you do to try and turn things around? With the business that I left school for, I had to pivot recently as well. So I spent basically the summer months building up this product, the website, social media, connecting with other companies, reaching out to marketers and influencers. Excuse me. And then like in August, I think I kind of tried to do like a soft launch and launch this product of mine. I had a marketing budget. It wasn't huge, but it was decent enough, right? And so spent this money on my marketing budget. And at the end of the day, painful to admit, got zero sales. My brother bought a product. That doesn't count. And so obviously what I was doing was not working, right? And I was doing a lot of different angles to try and promote this product and reach out to my customer base. Hindsight 2020, definitely would do some things differently. But man, I was not grasping at straws, but I was attacking from a lot of different angles. And like I said, it wasn't working. So I was faced with a pretty hard choice, right? I put tons of time and money invested into this business, but my marketing just wasn't working at all, right? And as painful as it was to admit, had to admit defeat for a minute there and make a huge pivot, which was basically to put the business on hold and take some time out to regroup, to reorganize, and replan my strategy of attack to figure out how can I reach my customers better. Maybe my message, which I've tweaked since, maybe that wasn't working well enough. Maybe the demographic I thought I was going to connect with isn't the right demographic, or maybe I just wasn't connecting in the right way. So you get so involved in wanting to go forward and, taking a step backward doesn't always seem like it's a step forward. But in that case, I definitely had to, because if I just kept throwing my limited marketing budget into these funnels and into these channels, it wasn't going to work out for me. So I had to make the painful decision and put it on pause for a minute. Like I said, while I regroup and restructure. And that's not an easy decision to make, but that's a business decision I had to make, right? So I had to make a pivot. And so next time when I do launch, hopefully sooner than later, but I have that experience underneath me, I know I won't make those same mistakes again, and hopefully I'll have a stronger launch and get some more traction because of that, pivoting and stuff like that. You could also say maybe this is kind of like testing, right? Which is also very important when you're starting a business. And that's kind of what I was doing, actually, was just doing small little marketing campaigns. Like I said, different platforms, some different audiences, some different types of copy and material to see what would kind of work. And you could say, mini pivots is kind of what they are, right? Try and find one that will stick, try and find one that is generating revenue, and then you can try and scale that up later on. But right now, like I said, what I was doing wasn't working at all, so I had to take a break and pivot into something else. So that's pretty much it. Pivoting is a simple concept. It's just sometimes difficult to execute, but it's a very, very important thing to understand, because too many times, how many times do you hear about people who, businesses, like I said, that go bankrupt or, have had success and then lose it because they grinded away. They failed to pivot. Like famously, Blockbuster Video. Did I do a video on this already? I feel like I talked about Blockbuster once before in a video. Oh no. Am I at that point where I've made so many videos I'm forgetting the ones I did? Blockbuster, real quick to wrap it up. Video rental king in the 90s, but in the 2000s, as technology changed and viewing habits changed, right? People started redboxing, people started Netflixing, getting things mailed to their home, DVDs, remember that was a thing? And then streaming. Blockbuster couldn't keep up. They couldn't pivot to change with the market, and now they're non-existent, I think, except for one last Blockbuster that's still open in Anchorage, Alaska or something like that, right? But again, it's a business that's not here anymore because, again, they weren't able to pivot and change with the time. So if you're not constantly changing and growing and analyzing, your company probably is not going to last very long. All right, just made 10 minutes. I gotta go get my daughter anyway. She's got early release from school. Hashtag single dad life. How do I make a hash? Is that a hashtag? That's terrible. Anyway, I gotta go. I got things to do. I know you do too, so I'll catch you later.